Do a roll call, Bill.
Present.
Chris is absent. Clint here. Brandy
Here.
and Angie.
Here.
Our first item on the agenda is approval of claims presented to us, 25,433 to 25,486. Do I hear a motion to approve those claims?
So moved.
I'll second.
It's improved and, a motion to approve and second has been, come forth, and does anybody have any questions in any of those claims?
Don't have any questions other than, I did have a couple questions and I asked Yvonne before the meeting. She cleared them all up. Makes perfect sense to me.
I did too.
She told me one of my questions was the same question you asked.
There you go.
Now I feel like I should have asked the question.
Uh-oh.
It's okay that you did.
Okay, no, I have faith.
All in favor of approving claims 25,433 to 25,486, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, vote by the same sign. At this time, we make, open the floor for 3 minutes of public comments for any item that's on the agenda, and only items on the agenda.
Bill Wagner, 4462 South 600 West. And the ordinance that you're voting on tonight, or discussing tonight, down here on page 3, at the bottom of page 3, starts with section 2. It talks about a bunch of things being deleted in their entirety, and then it gives a list of them. It's probably a question for the lawyer. Are these what are part of the ordinance says, but will become part of the employee handbook, and that's why they're being deleted in their entirety?
You're talking about section 2?
Yeah.
On the fourth page.
It says 29, on the third page, 29.702 employee handbook. And then you go down
Oh, okay.
to section 2. It says,
Oh, I see that on the fourth page,
Right.
and it's my understanding that all of those provisions are either covered somewhere else or they're obsolete.
Correct.
Yeah, they're part of the handbook, which is just approved in the ordinance, right?
Right.
So the handbook actually was approved, was it last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And when you all approved the handbook, it superseded any ordinance that was in conflict with it. So the handbook already was the precedent. We just didn't clean up all the old ordinances at that time. So this was Jenny's project. She went through and found all the ordinances that were obsolete or overridden.
yeah.
So this is just cleaning up what's already in effect, but yes, the answer is they are in the handbook. The handbook was already passed by this council, and is effective as of, was it September 15th?
September 15, 21.
So Dale, the one that really caught my attention was the nepotism policy. And my first question this evening was, does that mean we start hiring our family? And no, it's been covered in the employee
Yeah.
handbook. And that's why we're getting rid of something that's otherwise outdated, because of the employee handbook.
Yeah,
so when I look on the AM legal side, now all those things are under the 29.702. That the whole handbook's on there.
No. I'm sorry, did you want me to answer?
Oh,
that?
please
yeah, go
chime
ahead.
in.
The handbook per the ordinance is kept, there's a copy kept in the clerk's office. And it's a public record, it's viewable by the public at any time, but it won't be on AM Legal.
Okay. Thank you.
in other words, what this did was adopt the handbook and get rid of a lot of other language that was in there on all these subjects. So
Yeah, we had separate ordinances that
Right.
we no longer need because of the handbook.
Why can't this be available online?
It can be,
Okay.
it can be put online, you can have it on the town webpage, I suppose, if you wanted to have.
Oh,
it
the
on
employee
legal.
handbook?
Mhm.
Are we talking about the employee handbook? Okay.
Yeah, it's,
I think every employee has a copy and it's available here.
I don't know your structure for hand legal, I imagine you pay for content though, and this is duplicative.
It's big.
And it's actually outdated, there's newer language that you pay somebody to develop the handbook for, so.
But we can't do that, right?
What?
Get it updated with the people that did it.
The handbook's only that has that gun policy in there. So unless you wanna make that gun policy a separate ordinance or resolution, then we can update the handbook again. It needs to be updated. There's 2 or 3 policies, federal.
Because we threw in the gun
laws
clause
and
into the handbook, they won't update it. So,
Well, that's not in this, what we're doing tonight, so.
We can put that on another
yeah.
okay.
meeting.
Next item on the agenda is the adoption of minutes of our July 19th, 2023 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to read the minutes? And do I hear a motion to approve them? I make a motion to approve the meetings of the July 19th, 2023 minutes.
I'll second that motion.
Been approved and seconded. Is there any questions, additions, or deletions from the minutes? All those in favor of approving the July 19th, 2023 minutes, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'll abstain since I wasn't here.
Me too.
So we need to continue that to the next meeting. Next item on the agenda is the ordinance revising the code of ordinance of the town of New Palestine, number 080223.
You want me to walk through that?
Yes, probably be a
Or
good
we can
idea.
put
Dan.
Jenny on the spot. It's
No.
her project. So, as I just mentioned, this was one of Jenny's projects to go through the code and see what we could clean up. You guys pay for Ant Legal to put all this online, and so we want to make sure that we have the most up-to-date ordinances online. Just to clarify what Clint had said earlier in the public comments, you are not adopting the handbook today. That's already been adopted.
Yeah,
But what we're doing is we're taking out all of the ordinances that were either duplicative or in
Con-
contrary to that handbook. So the handbook is valid law. You have an ordinance on the handbook that adopted it and allowed for amendment by resolution. And it also says that any ordinances that are contrary to the handbook are automatically repealed. So the handbook was always the proper authority to look to, and everything else was repealed, but it wasn't actually taken out of AM legal. So part of what this does is it goes through and pulls out all those things that were covered in the handbook and just gets them off the old system so that we don't have 2 conflicting sources out there. So the handbook will not be part of AM legal. You're certainly welcome to put that on your website or have it available through whatever resources you want. So section 1 amends certain sections of the code. I'll walk through that very quickly here. 21.10, the authority to complete applications for grant monies. We're striking the section where it references the Indiana Department of Commerce. Community Focus Fund grant program. We are out the section on legal holidays. So you'll see in other parts of your code, there's reserved where maybe something was there before, and you'll be able to add anything in chapter 25 later.
But
if you
the
so
legal
choose.
holidays are in the employment manual now.
Correct.
Right.
All right, section 2703. We're down in subsection E. I'm sorry, we'll start in D. It previously mentioned that there was 5 members, but it only referenced the council president's appointments. We added in language recognizing that the town council appoints 2 members as well. And then subsection E had the original appointees from the council listed in there. They obviously did not serve for many years, and so we struck that section to get rid of their names. So the council still has the same amount of appointments, so does the president, just getting rid of old language there. We added in the 1-year term or until the successor is appointed and qualified. And then this is what's new subsection F is the statutory language that requires the council president to appoint an advisor to the redevelopment committee. And all of those points are all statutory requirements for the advisor. Any questions on that subsection? Section 29203, maximum rate of levy. This is for the cumulative development fund. It previously had the levy amounts listed for 1988, 1989, 1990. And we struck all those and just added language to be at the highest rate of levy allowed by Indiana law. So those previous rates were no longer valid. You can't go higher than Indiana law allows, so we've cleaned up that language. Any questions on that section? 29408 does the same thing. That rate actually currently is 0.05 on each $100 of assessed valuation. However, it can change, and so we've struck that language again and the year and just added the highest rate allowable by Indiana law. So it'll never go above what Indiana law allows. It doesn't mean you have to make it the highest amount, just puts the cap there where the law says the cap is. Any questions on that? Section 21112. And I'm sorry, I confused this with the first one, 2110. 2110, the very first one we went over, just allows Yvonne, or the clerk treasurer, to take it to apply for any grant money. So that was the money coming in. And 21112 allows her to accept money by any means of electronic funds from anywhere. So it previously said just distribution from the state. We're saying that she can take in any money that's due to the town by electronic payment. Sorry for the confusion there. Any questions on that one? All right, 29.702 is the employee handbook. I have a very slight edit here that Bill pointed out. I changed the format of the date. And the very first line there where it says the 17th of October 2012, and I put September 15th, 2021, which is how it's formatted in the employee handbook, but I left the in. So I will strike that out as a Scrivener's error. So we changed the date of the most recent adoption of the handbook. Again, that was already adopted, just reflecting the new date. Any questions on that? And then section 2 of this ordinance deletes sections of your ordinance completely. The majority of those, as we previously discussed, are because they're already contained in a newer form, a newer version in your employee handbook. And I think 2 of them were just outdated. So the authority to establish a deferred compensation plan talks about an old plan that's no longer available. You have, sorry, I look at my notes, you've already adopted PERF, which is the relevant deferred compensation plan. And that is in section 29402 is the current one. So that's not a handbook one, that's just an old ordinance that should have come off anyway. Holidays, nepotism, vacation leave, sick leave, leave without pay, leave with pay, hours of work and attendance, interpretation of leave policies, attendance records, employee service records, salaries and wages, and schedule of payment. Actually, all the rest of them were all covered in the handbook. So those are being deleted from and legal. You already have policies that have been adopted and are in effect in the handbook. Again, if you so choose, you can put those online on your webpage. It'd be a more cost-effective way of distributing them. The remaining sections I can read through, but it just goes through and says that if you change this and there's any legal effect, that we're not going to pull the rug out from anybody, under under section 3, that if any of the changes are deemed by a court to be invalid, that the remaining changes are still in effect, and that this resolution will become in full force and effect after the date of its passage. So because it's an ordinance change, it has to have 2 readings. So today would just be the first reading. And if the council chooses to pass it, it would go into effect after the next meeting, which is what Jenny and I were hoping for, because we have to have changes into AM legal by the end of the month to have that effective on this contract period. Did I say that right, Jenny?
Yes. It's budgeted for this year.
So this is just a first reading. Of course, if it passes first reading, you can make amendments if there's any changes you want, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Doug. We need a motion to pass ordinance 080223 with the correction on the first reading.
So moved.
Is there a second for that?
I second.
Is there any other questions on that? All those in favor of passing ordinance 080223 with the correction, vote by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed?
Clint, I have a question.
Okay.
I remember a few years ago, it was pretty common, and we haven't done it in a long time, and Doug helped me procedurally. There was something that if on first reading it passed unanimously, you could then make a motion to waive the rules of procedure and vote for the final approval at the same time. Is that correct, Doug? Is that?
That is correct.
Even if just 4 of us here?
I thought it had to be all 5 members.
This has to be unanimous.
Oh, okay.
So you could do that. I know these are pretty simple changes. I know there's also a lot of changes, so for public input reasons, you want to go to the next meeting, you can. Again, in my mind, they're very minor changes, so if you wanted to pass it on first reading, you could do that as well. It's up to the council.
Any thoughts on that?
Well, the vote was unanimous. So we can, if you want to make a motion on that.
Help me if I get the motion correct. I
Okay.
move that we suspend the rules of procedure, and based on the first reading passing unanimously, I make a motion for final adoption of ordinance 080223
With the,
with the one correction.
yeah. Is there a second on that?
I second that.
Is there any other discussion?
The only reason I make that motion is for judicial economy.
Whoa.
Just do it now and we don't have to do it later.
All in favor of passing ordinance 080223 with the correction, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed.
And thank you, Clint and Ted, or Doug, 'cause it's been a long time since we've done that, so.
Yeah, the first thing that stuck in my head was, well, did we need all 5 people here?
It just makes sense.
I didn't know.
Jenny identified a couple others, but for statutory reasons, you can't change some of them during an election year. So she's done a good job of identifying those. And
Wow.
we'll have some more.
We'll talk later.
We'll do those next year.
Yeah, sounds good. Next item on the agenda is the renewal of the Keystone Key Asset Program.
We have an asset program through Keystone that we keep track of all the town's assets. It helps us with our depreciation each year that we have to do for the state. And we just need to renew the program, and we need Clint's signature.
Cost is $1,000.
Yeah,
I never like paying stuff, but it's definitely worth money.
Yes, especially when it comes time for us to do all of the
The reporting.
that.
It's a click of a button versus
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure it all out.
I just don't have a wooden.
yeah. What do we need to do on that?
I don't know, do we need an approval? I just need to have Clint sign it.
Yeah, they don't need approval for $1,000, do they, Doug?
No,
Okay.
that's within the purchasing authority.
Okay, our next item on the agenda is a donation acceptance letter.
Last week, maybe, yeah, probably about a week ago, Mr. Haggerty walked into my office again with another $4,000 check. Mr. Haggerty is amazing. I checked with him to make sure that he had enough money to live on. And because he brings us regularly brings us checks as a donation for the police department. We're eternally grateful for that. So, yeah, we have the official form for you to approve, or accept his donation.
It's very nice of them.
Yes.
It's incredibly nice of him.
I'll make a motion that we accept Mr. Haggerty's $4,000 donation to the police department. And I would suggest that, as part of my motion, that we find some way to thank him. And just the first thing that comes to my mind is perhaps we pick a day and let's proclaim it Charles Haggerty Day in the town of New Palestine. A number of donations over the years that he has made to the police department, completely unsolicited, because it's a cause that he, is near and dear to him. I would certainly like to find some way, and maybe others have a different idea, but I think we should do something to memorialize that and to recognize him. And I know he seeks no recognition,
No.
I understand that, but just something that we could do to thank him formally.
He has bought every officer in my department out a brand new ballistic vest, so it's awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So that's my motion.
Is there a second to that motion?
I second that motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor of accepting the donation from Mr. Haggerty, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hey, it's accepted.
Does he get to play with the dog?
Maybe if I muzzle him. Even then, he's pretty wild.
Next item on the agenda are department reports. Bob?
So got a little bad news from Waymeyers today. They're the outfit that's gonna outfit the squad car. We got pushed back 2 more weeks. He apologized. He just said we were just overwhelmed. He said, squad cars coming in from everywhere, and he goes, it's just taking a while. So I kind of begged and pleaded and said, hey, when you find that, just that one little slot opening, just slide us in. We'll make time to get up there. However, we are gonna get this squad car will be striped by this Saturday, so it'll have the lettering on it, the badge stuff on it. So it's slow progression. It's gonna get done. Officer Whitaker just graduated from Hialeah's instructor course, so we have a new instructor on the department, so we're up to 4 instructors. So pretty proud of him. He didn't really want to go to it, but you know, I told him in the long run, after some of these old guys are gone, you know, he's one of them guys that'll be taking over, so it'd be a good thing for us. And he happily stepped up and graduated and did a good job. So if you see him, just tell him congratulations on the good hard work. School zone on Tuesday, lights weren't flashing first thing in the morning. Yeah, so we still worked the school zone. We worked both Gem Road and 52. Jim and I spoke to NDOT. I got them to come out pretty quick, and they fortunately have given us a key. So we now have a key to the lockbox. So if they're not flashing, one of us could be able to go out there and actually turn them on. When we start having breaks and vacations, we can turn it off. So it's not always flashing when there's no school in session. So that was kind of nice one. Nice guys. And I think that's all we have right now.
Thanks, Bob. Jim?
I have one thing, and Doug, you might be able to help me here. Lance's property, Clint has brought us to our attention that that's zoned R3. I think we're all in agreement that it's kind of a clerical error, and I've looked at the minutes and it says R3 and it's been recorded as R3. Is that something that we could do as simple as getting the landowner to write a letter and then get that re-recorded, or does that have to go through Plan Commission to get that taken care of?
What should it be designated?
It's R2, yeah.
And are they currently using it as R2?
It's
No,
just farm
it's
ground.
just vacant farmland right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me do some quick research on that.
Okay.
Make sure we don't cause any legal action.
Yeah, can we just go like this? And
Yeah. We don't have any recordings of that meeting,
Yeah,
yeah,
and that was in the minutes as R3, I suppose.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was probably, Becky might have made that mistake and it just got recorded.
And we decided the other property was R2?
It's R2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So Doug, get back with me on that, we'll get that taken care of. That's it.
Has the street department got anything, Jim, you know of?
Not that I know of.
I think they poured that concrete pad over there all.
They did get his pads taken care of
Oh, do you?
over by Harding Farms and on Depot Street.
Depot Street.
What's the little red wagon doing at the roundabout?
They're doing the drainage that we had trouble with,
Okay.
yeah, on that one corner.
Anything else?
That's it.
Yvonne?
Couple little things. I noticed Angie found your check, but we wrote in 2021. Cashed it, so glad you found it.
Thank you.
Surprised that the bank cashed it.
I know, so was I.
Very odd. That was an old check that, in our system, just for those who don't know, we have to hold on to uncashed checks for 3 years. And then we can finally, take them off the books and whatever. So I see it every month, all the checks that, there's not very many, but This one surprised me, so I'm glad you found it. It's probably in a coat pocket or something. Another thing we've got to do, I need y'all to set up, a date for the budget workshop. A date that you can, it has to be this month. Preferably not during a council meeting, cause it's gonna take up a bunch of time. I would really kinda squash all the other topics that we have to talk about. Anywhere in the week from August the 14th through the 19th, or the 28th through September the 1st would be conducive for this. The week in between doesn't really work, as most of us are gonna be at the AIM Idea Summit. So, 14th through 19th, 28th through the 1st, those are the dates that also I can get Jared here to do this. This is be a public meeting, so will not be the public hearing. That's all I can take coming up.
Repeat that again?
All of it?
No, just the part about the public
The
hearing
dates.
and the public meeting.
So this will be the budget workshop
Okay,
to go over the budget for the coming year, and, you know, you'll have the input and what you want to do with it. And then, I think it's October 4th, no, it's,
I don't remember. We went
we
through all
have
these
a,
today and I
we set
forgot.
up all of these dates, but there's a public hearing coming up to formally approve, and for everybody to have it put in.
so this has to be before the public hearing, right?
Yes, yes, that's why it needs to be done this month sometime. So
Oh.
if all four of you can look at your calendar.
Okay, what are the opportune dates again?
The 14th through the 19th in that week, or that last week of August.
Jared did suggest having it on a Wednesday, the 30th. That it's like a downtime. It's a skipped board meeting.
Yeah,
So
we have-
he said
there's
if you
3
wanted to
weeks
do
between
it
board
then,
meetings.
that would be good too. So if that date works
mean-
for you guys.
You mean the 14th to the 19th or the 30th?
The 30th, just on the 30th,
Oh,
So August the 30th.
which is a Wednesday.
no, I'm free.
I can do it.
Okay,
You pick the date, I'll be there.
so does it
Double
work for you,
30th?
Bill? How about for you, Brandy?
Let me double check. Yeah, that'll be fine.
You good? Awesome.
There we go.
Let's put it 7 p.m.
Somebody tell Chris no.
on August 30th, and then I'll send an email to Chris.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Actually, I
Hmm.
think he gets his texts way faster.
Yeah.
So, very good, thank you very much, that was quick. And that's all I have.
Okay, now we open the floor to public comments, and we allow 5 minutes on any topic. So if you'd like to speak, you need to come up here and give us your name and address and talk to us.
Don't everybody do it at once.
Everybody jump up there, we'll have to form a line. Okay, next item on the agenda is the council comments. And I don't have anything tonight. Brandy?
I don't have anything.
Well, I do just want to acknowledge Brandy's daughter received a statewide award the other day, something to do with tobacco.
Prevention. Non-use.
Largest consumer.
Oh,
It wasn't for tobacco use, it was for tobacco prevention.
yeah, she was the first Indiana Youth Advocate of the Year.
And
received-
the, we can talk about it in a minute, the people that their daughter, the award was named after her daughter, those people were there, and it was a heck of an experience, wasn't it, Randy?
She had passed away from cancer a few years ago, and at a very young age, like 20, 21, something like that. And so this award was in her honor, and her mother got to be on the selection committee to choose the young person to receive it, and they were there to give it to her, and it was very special. So thank you. I
It
appreciate
was.
that. Thank you. I appreciate
What do you got there, Bill?
I have nothing this evening, thank you.
Angie?
I have nothing.
In that case, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll
Second? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye. Adjourn.
Anybody need to? Be sure it's a little warm, but.
I've already